Welcome back, guys. Today we're going to continue our college football predictions with round two. And in round one, I went in very easy 4-0 by picking all the home teams. Not a lot of surprises there. But now we're into round two, where the bowl games will be put into play. And we're going to start off with the Fiesta Bowl, where the Penn State Nittany Lions will be taking on the Boise State Broncos. For Penn State, in their round one, quote unquote, wild card round, they dominated SMU. It was pretty much no match from the beginning. SMU was outmatched. Penn State capitalized and dominated from minute 1 to minute 60. Meanwhile, for the Boise State Broncos, they are currently sitting at the 3 seed of the college football playoff. As you know, they had a bye week and they had a month to rest. But most of their discourse between their last game played and now has been how Ashton Jeanty got screwed over in the Heisman voting. And in hindsight, I think he did, because the Heisman people decided to side with a big name and a bigger school than Ashton Jeanty. I actually think Jeanty deserved that Heisman. So with that being said, this game, Boise State has had, let me just say this. Boise State has had a great history in Fiesta Bowls. Y'all know that iconic game with them in Oklahoma. And then almost like a few years after that, they played again and beat Arizona in the Fiesta Bowl. And then hopefully they could replicate some of their success here. However, I don't know how well they match up defensively with Penn State, because Penn State defense is really, really good. And offense, they're also good when they want to be. I'm gonna roll with the Penn State Nittany Lions to win this game, and move on to the next round. And I believe if they win this game, they're gonna play the winner of Georgia and Notre Dame. Next up, we have the Texas Longhorns taking on the Arizona State Sun Devils. Texas, I called it in my last video. I said they were sure they were going to beat Clemson, but I did say it was going to be much closer than what the people think. And 2 touchdowns was about as accurate as you could think. But Texas, at least they got their running game going. And for Arizona State, 1 year in, the new Big 12, they're in the playoffs. Albeit that this year was kind of a weak year for the Big 12 in general. And looking at this point spread, 13 points it shows. But between now and then, I haven't heard much discourse around Arizona State. I do hope they give Texas a run for their money, but I don't know how well they match up. And because I don't know how well they match up, I am going to roll with the Longhorns to win the Peach Bowl. And this could set up a possible date with Ohio State taking on Oregon, number 1 ranked Oregon, in the granddaddy of them all, the Rose Bowl. Last time we saw Ohio State, they won their wild card game against Tennessee, and they made it much easier than anticipated. And it was good for Ohio State, given how the last time we saw them prior to that was a disappointing showing against their rival Michigan. Oregon, the number 1 ranked team in the playoffs, unsurprisingly, they're going to be taking on Ohio State. And these two teams, Big Ten rivals, we've seen them already. And in the last time we saw them, I put them as game of the week, and it lived up to the hype. Because Oregon, even though Oregon won by 1 point, Ohio State was almost in position to win that game. And looking at this one, in this rematch, do I sense Ohio State winning this one? Or will Oregon have what it takes to finally get this one on top? Question is, I really don't know who's going to win this one. This one I think is very evenly matched. But here's my problem with Ohio State, and it goes back to that Michigan game. Offensive inconsistencies. They're going to have to get out to a pretty fast start if they want to have a chance with Oregon. And that's for that reason, even though Ohio State's favored by 2.5 points, I'm going to go with the Oregon Ducks to win. They got them as the number 1 seed for a reason. They dominated every single opponent in their path. Even though for them, Ohio State is the last team they want to see. But I do think Ohio State has enough consistency for me to say I'm going to roll with them to win this game. And last but not least, we have the Notre Dame Fighting Irish taking on the Georgia Bulldogs. Notre Dame dominating their playoff matchup with Indiana. They made it look very easy, no chance. And for Georgia, they won the SEC title game against Texas. Second time they beat Texas this year, but it came at a cost with their starting quarterback Carson Beck being out for the year with an elbow injury. He will not be playing, which means their starting quarterback heading into this one is, let me look this up real quick. It's going to take me a minute to find out who is actually going to be playing this game. I think it's Gunner. His name's Gunner Stockton, to say the least. Yeah, I'm gonna say I know the bettors are what they're saying. If this game was pretty much favored, I'll say this: if Carson Beck was playing in this game, Georgia might have had a bigger spread. But because Gunner Stockton, which I finally got the time to look it up, he's the unknown guy. We don't know much on him. We don't have a lot of tape on him. But I know Notre Dame is actually foaming at the mouth at this a little bit, knowing that Georgia is not going to have their starting quarterback. He's going to be making his first start, I believe, in a Georgia Bulldog uniform. And that's a bit of cause of concern for me. Hopefully, Georgia defense can carry the load. And while I do think their defense is very talented, this is another one I'm having a hard time picking because they're still giving Georgia. They said Georgia is a slight favorite in this game, but because Georgia doesn't, and you know what? Screw it. I'm taking the Bulldogs to win. They were my preseason favorites to win this whole college football season, and I'm not going to go against them just yet, although Notre Dame could easily take this game. And here's the how the college football playoffs look like right now. And yeah, that concludes this playoff prediction video for round 2. Tell me what y'all think in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Gamble safely, and I'll see you next time.